Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, this week has been dominated by job losses at Tata Steel and today's announcement of £9 million to try to help those who've lost their jobs. We head to Scunthorpe to hear from workers past and present. We meet a 16-year-old Grimsby lad who's aiming for the Karate World Championships, and we check out the new electronic tag system being introduced on the Humber Bridge, and we head to Hull for a sports project aimed at getting youngsters into sport. Welcome to Estuary News, I'm Hugh Richards. With the Olympics in Rio in 2016 and heading to Japan in 2020, there are many hopeful candidates out there who hope to be an Olympian for their country. In Grimsby, one youngster is training hard as he sets his sights on gold, but to get there, he needs a little help. We sent Dan Tomlinson to meet him.
16-year-old Luke Easton of Grimsby has an ambition to travel to Indonesia this November to compete in the World Karate Championship.
The top people in the world from each country get to go to Indonesia for the World Championships, so it's the best people in the world, really.
With 10 years of training, Luke came 8th in the EKF European Karate Championship this past February in Switzerland, something that has driven him to this goal. But his family are unable to provide the funds for Luke's journey. However, his mother Tracy has a plan.
The whole trip costs around £2,000, give or take, just a little bit. Luke has been sort of quite a lot of competitions, and it's just difficult to keep paying and going every sort of weekend to a competition. Well, we've done a coffee morning so far, and it was absolutely wonderful. We had a few people that decided to sponsor Luke through that, and we got £597.14, so that's really, really great.
But there is still a way to go in order to reach the magic £2,000 number.
It's a very expensive trip just to get there in itself. There's obviously lots of training that you've got to do, lots of travelling around the country, and you need to obviously get a lot of experience before the competition. So it's actually to go there and for everything else in between.
But he does want to give something back. If somebody does want to sponsor him, he's quite keen to help other people and promote good health and good training, really.
With 3 weeks remaining, time is running low. Can Luke achieve his dream of travelling to Indonesia to kick his way to success? Maybe you can help.
In the first of our visits to Scunthorpe with regards to the 900 job losses at Tata Steel in the town, we sent Dave Nunn on the eve of the announcement to get the reaction to the news, which will affect many families.
Well, it's concerning for me personally because that's where I work. So obviously worrying times for everyone really, but it's been brewing for a while, but it's been like living with a cloud over our heads, really. We've been wanting to know answers for quite a while now, and I think people are still wondering why and how it's come about. Worrying times.
It will kill Scunthorpe completely, because it's not just the steel work, it's all the ancillary trades outside that do jobs for them. They're all going to be out of work. It'll cripple Scunthorpe completely.
What would your message be to the government?
Step in and help. I mean, even if it's only an interim measure until they can find somebody who's prepared to take it on. But to let it die, I think, is wrong.
Well, I think it's diabolical. I think the government are clearly not doing enough about it. And it's going to crucify Scunthorpe. It's going to really knock the town back.
Do you think the government are really doing nothing about it?
They're clearly doing nothing about it. They're doing nothing about Teesside. They're not going to change for Scunthorpe. And the steel industry is the basics of industry in this country. It's a stable industry, isn't it?
I think I speak for most people when I say for, like I say, a long time now these rumours have been flying about, and we pay into our unions, and we don't seem to be getting answers from anywhere, and they're don't seem to be pushing to help us get these answers either. And hopefully we can maybe get some clarification with this news that's come in, but who knows.
I think it'll affect the town, it'll affect obviously employment. It'll take years to find jobs for 1,000 people, and I think the town will go down.
You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, we head to Hull for a sports project aimed at getting youngsters into sport, and we meet the Hull wrestlers with a slight difference. And we'll have all the sports news. I'm sure regular travellers across the Humber Bridge will be grateful to hear that the improvement works are almost at an end. It's taken almost 3 years, but soon the first major transformation of the bridge toll booths since its opening in 1981 will be complete. From November the 5th, you'll be able to cross using the Humber tag, and Dan Kemp has been along to see it in action.
With the bridge seeing a 5% year-on-year increase in traffic and the existing toll booths getting more and more dated, the Humber Bridge Board are nearing the completion of their £7 million project to revamp the way we all cross it. Peter Hill is the bridge master.
The whole point of changing it was to make sure the customer got a decent service. They've got the tolls to pay, and we can't stop that. What we wanted to do was to make sure the customer got the best service possible. So we're introducing electronic tolling, and in particular it's a hybrid system where people can either travel through the barriers and pay by cash or pay by electronic tolling, or they can travel through the open road tolling now, where there's no barriers, no need to slow down, travel on through at highway speed and pay the toll as they go.
When fully operational, it's hoped that queues like these will be a thing of the past. Frustrating at the moment for commuters, but when complete it'll be a big boost for the local economy.
It means much more movement in businesses and people in business from one side to the other. All these commuters are all commuting because they're doing business. Either they're going to work in one place and living in another place. That's what's called social mobility. That's what the bridge was intended for originally, to bring the two sides together, and that's working.
For lots of regular commuters and for the businesses that use this bridge all the time, such as the haulage companies, such as the bus companies, such as people that have to go over there on a regular basis for medical needs. You have people that are going to Castle Hill regularly from the South Bank. It will mean it's quicker for those people, because as there's going to be regular facilities for those that are doing that, those that have a pass and that need to be able to go through or get tokens to enable them to go through, they will be able to go through faster through the existing tolling booths because there won't be as much traffic on those tolling booths.
A vehicle doesn't need to be fitted with a Humber tag, as vouchers and cash will still be accepted, but everyone with the new device will save 10% on their fare. So far, 8,000 tags have been allocated to customers who will have their first chance to try out the free-flowing central lanes from the 7th of November.
And don't forget, if you have a story you'd like one of our team to investigate, then please get in touch with them by calling 01472 31553 or 315561, or email news@estuary.tv, go to our social media pages on Facebook and Twitter and send them a message. A project aiming to drive up sports participation when it comes to youngsters in Hull has secured funding. Local charity Achieve Potentials says it'll help them deliver sporting activities to over 1,000 young people aged between 14 and 25. Erica Barker went to find out more.
This may look like any other PE lesson, but youngsters at Winifred Holtby Academy are some of the first to benefit from funding which is being ploughed into sporting activities for children in Hull. Around £200,000 is to be spent over 2 years on providing activities for all abilities. Active Communities Network is a national charity which, with the financial backing of Sports England and local businesses, is helping kids in our region.
And we're very much around utilising sport in socially, economically deprived communities to engage young people in positive activities, to work with them in their own personal life skills, personal development, work with them around accreditation, training and volunteering, and ultimately to give them pathways into education and employment. Sport is a great way of getting kids motivated. It gets them into something they enjoy doing, and it gives a good opportunity for us to work and mentor them, because the coach-young person relationship is great. But in the long term, it's really about how do we train and develop the next generation of people to change our communities for the better.
One of the local charities to benefit is Achieve Potential. They will be the ones to deliver a wide range of free sessions in the school holidays and term time to encourage youngsters to get active.
A lot of it is about confidence building. We get an awful lot of young people who think they can't do, and then they come along to our low-key sessions. You know, we're not looking for the next world superstar. We just want somebody to take part at their own level and to be able to compete at their level and not worry about any pressures of competing to a certain standard.
And representatives from corporates and community groups also came along to show their support, and it seemed that fun was had by all.
It's that teaching them the difference between winning and losing. It's the teamwork and the social aspects of it all as well. And we see our kids get a great experience from us within sport, within the skill. Just really pleased with the way it's gone. I think our kids have had a fantastic opportunity. They've all bought into it. Obviously, achieved potentials have come down. The coaches have been fantastic today, and it's been a really positive day.
It's different from normal lessons.
And it's a good opportunity to like meet some people.
And we meet like other members of the community as well.
There wasn't just the traditional sports on offer either. Dog training was also an option, which went down a treat. Erica Barker, Estuary TV.
And Dan's here for a very quick taster of what's coming up in the sports news.
Good
Dan?
evening, Hugh. Yes, I've been to see Steve Bruce, Hull City manager, today ahead of their 4th versus 2nd place game against Birmingham City tomorrow afternoon at the KC. We've also got a quick soundbite with Mark Carroll, the assistant manager of North Ferriby United, again ahead of their big day against Staley Bridge tomorrow for a place in the FA Cup first round for the first time ever, and Grimsby Town as well.
Brilliant. We'll look forward to all that news in the second half. Dan, join me then. We look back at the week's announcements in Scunthorpe and at the job losses at the Steelworks. We also head to Hull to find out about a new wrestling academy for people with disabilities. And as we've just heard, we'll have all the latest sports news. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News in this week where we lost 900 jobs at the Tata Steel Works in Scunthorpe. A little later on, we meet a group of Hull wrestlers with a difference. But first, here's the reaction to those job losses in Scunthorpe from workers past and present.
The lads in there today are absolutely devastated by the news. We don't think it's coincidental that the news has been broken on today, on the day that the Chinese Premier visits here and has the red carpet rolled out to him. We're very devastated by today's announcement. It's going to affect a lot of families. A lot of people are going to be worried for their futures.
Well, it's utter devastation. My heart goes out to them. I've been up at Teesside in support of the Redcar Steelworkers, and I've witnessed firsthand the utter devastation up there. Just coming up to Christmas, people, families with mortgages. These are real people with real families, and I don't think Mr Cameron understands this. And it just seems to me as though he's turning his back on the industry.
Heart of the town, if this goes, the town's already on its knees. This will just, well, it's on the floor after this. There's homeless on the streets, and it's getting worse.
The news about those job losses at Tata Steel in Scunthorpe hit hard for many in the town. It'll see the town's plate mill mothballed and the Dawes Lane coke ovens close. Of course, many people were blaming the huge pressures facing the UK steel industry, notably from Chinese imports and high energy costs and local taxes, and were expecting more to have been done by the UK government.
They came out in force yesterday to show their support for the steelworkers. Some were locals there for solidarity, while others, like Mick Johns, were ex-employees. Mick was made redundant from Lysets in 1981, and it took him 9 years to find work.
I think the damage is done now, I'm afraid. You know, maybe something should have been done a bit earlier. But as I said, it was the same at Lysets at Steelworks. It was terrible them days, you know. It took me 9 years to get another job. I was out of work 9 years. I had to live off me, my land off me a lot. I had 3 kids, I had them to feed and clothe and everything like that. It was absolutely mayhem. Now, as I said, so this is my understanding. That's the only reason I'm here today. It's just to come here and look at these, you know, it's these who we should have been looking after. It's too late now, I think.
High taxation and energy costs were blamed for the job losses, and current workers felt the UK government should have done more to assist.
The government should be doing, what the government should be looking at is tackling the carbon tax levy. That is absolutely crippling this business. The carbon tax levy, high business rates for these sort of industries, and high energy bills. High energy The cost of conversion is absolutely crippling this business. The government needs to be looking at reducing that directly, as well as tackling Chinese dumping of steel on our shores.
I mean, is there any government people here today? I can't see anybody. You know, I mean, there isn't that many of us people here, but if you hear the traffic going past and look, the support from there is absolutely amazing. I mean, they're all pipping and, you know, they're agreeing that, you know, we need to save the jobs in this town.
And the skills here, what these workers have, they're highly skilled. And once these skills have gone, they've gone. They're not transferable, these skills.
I think we just feel we had to come down today and give the lads some support. There's a lot of really hard workers down there who deserve our support and they deserve jobs.
A task force has now been put together to look at the future for the workers, but the knock-on effect is how will Scunthorpe cope long term.
Our region has many wrestlers, but now there's a new group in town. We sent Dave Nunn to Hull to meet a group of wrestlers with disabilities.
Like all sports, wrestling tries to be as accessible as possible to people of all abilities, including those with disabilities. However, two entrepreneurs and wrestlers in Hull are setting up a new wrestling company because they believe wrestling isn't all inclusive.
We're trying to improve on the wrestling business today. We're trying to make it more accessible for everyone rather than just able-bodied people. We're sick of all this stereotyping that because someone's deaf or someone's has lost a limb or something like that, it's impossible for them to do a sport. Whereas we say different. We believe they are able to, and we can make them wrestlers.
Dan is deaf and says that if he can be a wrestler, then anyone who is disabled can follow in his footsteps.
There are obstacles for every person. It's never the same obstacle for the same person either. Is when you're deaf, when it comes to wrestling, there's a lot more involved to wrestling than most people actually see. And I believe that if somebody like me can become even a semi-professional wrestler, it's just a no-brainer. If we can do it, anybody can do it. It's a fair game, you know. I mean, people will struggle. I won't say they won't. I won't say it's not going to be difficult either. But when it comes to something that you're passionate about, you will always give it 110%. You will never just leave it, and you'll never let it lie.
It's not just about wrestling. Being disabled can lead to becoming socially isolated, and Stephen says that one of the main aims of XBW Wrestling is to get disabled people involved in something new and enjoyable.
There's lots of things we can offer them. We can offer them stuff like
confidence boosting,
fitness training. It will just change their outlook on life. They will feel a lot freer and a lot better in themselves for doing this. And we guarantee we can make something big of them.
Dan says that wrestling has helped him overcome his disabilities and has helped him manage his ADHD. He emphasises how important wrestling has been in changing him as a person, and admits that if he wasn't wrestling right now, he'd probably be in prison.
Again, myself, I was a very introverted person. I wasn't very outspoken. I wasn't comfortable speaking to others. I wasn't even comfortable being around others. I was just scared of people in general. Because of my infirmities, my eyesight, my hearing, I'm also ADHD, and it puts a dampener on your life. And if it wasn't for wrestling, I don't think I'd be where I am today. I won't be as outspoken. I wouldn't be as passionate about anything, to be fair. As it was going before I started wrestling, I believe in a cell. As it happens, I do generally believe the way my life was turning out before wrestling, yeah, I'd have ended up in a prison cell before now.
Here's Dan with the sport.
Hull City look to go 7 unbeaten when they host Birmingham City tomorrow. The fixture sees 4th host 2nd in the Championship. Elsewhere, Scunthorpe United faced a relatively short trip to Chesterfield on Saturday as they looked to bounce back from defeat against Gillingham last time out. And Grimsby Town and North Ferriby United are both in FA Cup qualifying action, and you can hear from both Paul Hurst and Village's assistant manager Mark Carroll in a moment. But first, Hull City manager Steve Bruce says competition for places this season is tough and that players have been knocking on his door to try and get more game time. Players including Ryan Taylor and Isaac Hayden are currently being omitted from the matchday squad, but Bruce says there's a number of other players trying to get game time too.
Yeah, 10 of them, and rightly so. You know, I'll be the first to knock down the door, you know, and you know, it's what you want. You need competition, and if you're going to be successful, then you just can't be with 11 or 12. And if you're going to keep the squad happy, then you have to give people game time too. And everybody's chomping at the bit at the minute, which is good to see, and may that continue.
Meanwhile, Bruce confirmed this morning that Curtis Davis, who was injured on Tuesday night, and new signing Adama Diamade will be out of action for a while.
He will be 4 to 5 weeks, and I would think Diamande would be about the same. We're not rushing him at the moment with the international break a couple of weeks away. We expect Curtis to be in and around that sort of date as well.
Grimsby boss Paul Hurst has been reflecting on the links between themselves and Harrogate Town, including Mariners record appearance holder John McDermott, who is now assistant boss at Harrogate.
I'm sure we played against each other at some point, and it obviously takes no introduction to the Grimsby fans. And then lastly, Joe Colbeck, as a player who I think did pretty well for us, in truth, and all of those people and the rest of the team, I'm sure, will be, striving to not just put one over on us, but like I said, get to that first round proper.
Meanwhile, Hurst says their hunt for loan signings is continuing, but the club aren't close to bringing anyone in. North Ferriby United lead the club in qualifying action. A win for them would see them make the first round proper for the first time in their history.
The owners are working really, really hard behind the scenes, and to try and make to get the brand of North Ferriby United out there and improve, matchday experience and everything else. And this would just go, a long way to helping, with that, both financially and getting the name out there again.
And that's all for the sport.
Thanks, Dan. That's it for tonight. Lily May Clapperton, I hope you like my stripy tie. If you have a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages. Details on the screen, or call 01472 31553. Until next week, good evening.
Estuary TV weather, sponsored by Rix Petroleum, your local family-owned heating oil supplier this winter.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Outbreaks of rain through the morning on Saturday, perhaps some heavy. This will gradually clear southeast during the afternoon to leave some sunny spells, although it will be becoming chilly with scattered sharp showers and a maximum temperature of 12 degrees. Generally dry and fine on Sunday.
Rix, servicing the region's oil boilers this winter from a name you can trust. Get in touch at rix.co.uk or call us on 01482 838383.